and you wrote to me that, oh, I have been doing the same thing again and again. No. So I discussed in
No, no.
detail.
Yeah, and since last week, I didn't have a moment to
Okay, okay,
prepare
no problem.
something. Yeah, that was because.
So, what we are today, we are going to reflect on what we see, feel, touch, taste is false. How it is false? And if I take this false as a real, problem begins. Anxiety begins, reaction starts, and mind is filled with all the accumulated impressions. And then we are seeking peace and happiness, not possible. So once we understand this, and from the next session, we will pick up the teaching of the text, which helps us to find out the areas of delusion, areas of pain points, and because of the impure mind, it causes the unnecessary stress. We get involved into it, and how to hammer that delusion, one. But after hammering the delusion, the intellect is a dry, remains dry. So the master says, no, you have to redirect your mind inside to find the unconditional love. So why? Because on one hand, you are hammering the delusion. On the other side, you are moving the mind inside. So there comes an unconditional love. Why? How? Knowledge and that love merge together. And that results into a realization of our real nature. And the real nature is of the nature of peace, happiness, love, truth, and wisdom. But before that, the last session on this category in this lesson is about what exactly, whatever we see is false. Whatever seeing means perception. Perception means whatever we experience, the word is false. How it is false. Why it is false. That we need to understand clearly. And when we understand it clearly, an intellect reminds you. The intellect reminds you you are looking at the false, and that is why it is causing the delusion and the stress. So we instantly become aware, and that awareness becomes a choiceless awareness. And that choiceless awareness helps our mind to be into the meditative state. But continue doing the last practice that you have been doing. So our master says we don't see the absolute truth, and we also don't see the absolute untruth. We don't see, we don't perceive the truth, and we don't see the untruth. What does it mean? The untruth does not exist. If I say, oh, the elephant is flying in the sky, this is untruth. It does not exist. So we don't perceive it. And so we also don't see the absolute truth. We only see the relative truth. And then what is false? The false is neither truth nor untruth. It is in between. It is in between. more than 200 years of democracy here in our country. These two parties just find out what is the good points they have to offer and what is the negative points they have to hide it. And we are convinced by one party with a good point, and then we vote for them. No problem is solved until today. No problem is solved. No problem is solved. We have to understand three things: what is untruth, what is truth, and what is false. So the master says that we don't see the truth, we only perceive what is false. So if we define what is truth, truth simply means what existed in the past, what still exists in the present, it will continue to exist in the future. So that is what the truth is. What is untruth? It did not exist in the past. It did not exist in the present. There is no question of existing in the future. The what about the false? It appears to exist. It appears to exist. Pay attention. We have to contemplate through our intellect what appears to exist, but it does not exist. That is false. I mean, that is what it means. It is not absolute untruth because it appears to exist. And it is not absolute truth because once we use the knowledge, it dissolves. That is the solution of our anxiety, reaction, blame, complaint, stress, duality, conflict. I don't see it. I don't see whether it is truth or untruth. And I realize by contemplation and reflection that it appears to exist, but it does not. Take an example, waves in an ocean. Wave rises up, it appears to exist, falls down, dissolves. So, what is the essence of the wave? The absolute truth of the wave is simply the water. The wave appears to exist, wave then dissolves. So, for some period of time, what appears to exist and then it dissolves is the false. Our sense organ and the mind continues to perceive this false and claim it as a real. That is the problem. I have an anxiety. You do the self-inquiry to find out where is the anxiety. Anxiety will dissolve. I am into anxiety. Don't talk to me now. Now I have given a label of reality to the anxiety. Don't talk to me. I'm into anxiety. So anxiety will continue. Stress will continue. Are you getting it? That is what we need to. Intellect should contemplate and reflect. It should not leave any delusion, any anxiety unnoticed, unexamined. If you don't examine it, it will continue. And the doctor will say, now you have a chronic anxiety, take these pills. Understand the false appears to exist, but it does not exist. The dream, in the dream body travels across the earth couple of times in few minutes. And when you wake up, do you say that I have traveled across the earth few times? You don't say it. Because for the dreamer, the dream body exists. But in a waking state, that dream body dissolves. Are you getting it? Now see, tiger is chasing you in the dream. So it is chasing the dream body. Other body, physical body is still lying down. And when you wake up, you have a palpitation of the heart, you are in the sense of anxiety. Impact is there. But my intellect says, now I am wake up, there is no tiger is chasing me. False. It appears to exist. But if I give a reality status to what appears to exist is a delusion, is the cause of anxiety, is the cause of stress, is the cause of the suffering, is the cause of ignorance, is the cause of impurity of the mind. Are you getting it? So once we have to use our intellect to contemplate and reflect. Whenever we have pain or we have a pleasure. I eat pasta for pleasure. I don't examine it. So it creates an impression. I have eaten the pasta in a particular restaurant. I liked it. Taste is very good. I created an impression. It goes into my storehouse of the impression. And after a few days or a weeks, my mind says, oh, continue to have the pasta. Because I did not examine whether the pleasure is the property of the pasta. Pleasure is not the property of the pasta. Are you getting it? If the pleasure is the property of pasta, then everyone will eat pasta only. Whenever they are in stress, they will eat pasta and they will get pleasure and get out of the stress. So we don't apply the intellect when our experiences, objects remains unexamined. That is the cause of our stress, our anxiety, our ignorance, our impurity of the mind. So we have this false at the physical level, at the mental level, at the emotional level. Simple. What appears, what is perceived as real is not real. Is the body of this guy is real? It has changed since birth. It is continued to change. The nature has programmed this physical body like this, and one day it will fall down. Before 1958, this body did not exist. Now it does not exist. It is existing. It is continuously changing. And after the last change, body falls down. So it means it appears real, but it is not real. It clearly shows I am not the body. Waking state every day. Can you remain awake 24 hours? No. Can you remain in sleep 24 hours? No. Can you remain in dream 24 hours? No. Something triggers inside, storehouse of impressions. So that impression triggers you to wake up from the sleep, transition to the dream. But again, you wake up. Again, that is what is happening every day in our life. This waking dream and the sleep continues days, weeks, months, years, but that there is something absolute truth that does not change. Because of that absolute truth, I know I am. I may say that I am 65 years old, but I am. That did not change. So there is a reflection on that is pure consciousness. Like waves in an ocean comes and goes. Like my grandparents left, my parents have left. Now I am here in a big line. Then our kids and their kids. No one lives forever in the body. Body is continuously changing. Now, if I want this body continues to exist forever, that causes the anxiety. Are you getting it? Are you listening? Body continues to exist. If I have this wrong notion, body must continue to exist. I have a fear of the death. And then there is a illness in the body, I will definitely get upset. So should I not take the treatment? Yes, I should take the treatment. I should repair the car. False is neither the truth nor the untruth. It cannot be untruth because we perceive them. I perceive the way. Look at the pot, a clay pot, ceramic pot. The pot has a fear that it will break. But does the ceramic has any fear that it will break? The wave has a fear that it will break. Does the water also has the fear? And I see both the wave and the water together. So Eastern wisdom gives you the third eye. That is known as the third eye. Third eye is not here. Third eye means the right perception, right knowledge. The waves has a name in the form, it has to go. Anything which has a name in the form has to go. It appears to exist, but it does not exist. But the essence, the water, never goes anywhere. You have you have a necklace, you have earring of the gold, you have nose pin of the gold, etc., etc. What is the essence? The necklace can break, nose pin can be crushed. What is left is the gold. This body will come and go, mind will come and go. The very essence, the consciousness, does not change at all. That consciousness is our real nature. So, what will happen? Should I leave the body to realize the consciousness? No, then it is not a realization. I'll continue to live with the body and the mind, but there is an awareness of the truth inside. Does the water get upset when the wave is falling down and when the wave is rising? No. Does anything happens to the clay when the clay pot breaks down? Nothing happens. So with the same body and the mind, if we live into that state of the truth and the real self, all our anxiety, delusion, duality, and conflict are gone in from our life. Now we are going little deeper. You have to again summarize and think of it. Focus on just sit down with an easy chair. What do I see? The wall. Uh, Before 2017, this wall did not exist because my son made this house customized. It was only a plain land. Now it is there. Another 100 years, it will not last. So it is constantly changing. What is changing, I see it as a real, but it is false. Same thing with the body, same thing with the computer. Don't get upset now, even if the computer doesn't work. Thank you. Thank you, computer. You're not working. So let me see how it can work. So we get unnecessarily upset. Now you see the entire perception by the five sense organs, thoughts supplied by the mind, and we get the knowledge of an object. Can you tell me anything that you perceive is everlasting? Think of it. Your pleasure from the pasta, your house, your body, your mind, your intellect, nothing. Your car. So our master created a third category. The science is only looking either it is the truth, relative truth, or it is the untruth. We say that no, it is the absolute truth is one aspect, untruth that does not exist, and the false that appears to exist, but it is not. Third category. What appears true is not true. The moment your mind gives a reality status to the false, you are bound to have anxiety, ignorance, impurity, delusion. How come? What is false? It is constantly changing. What is the second property of the false? It does not exist forever. That is why we create past, present, and future. What is false? It is akin to waking, dreaming, and the sleep states. Can I say I am dead when in deep sleep? Can I say I have taken birth in a waking state? Can I say in dream I entered into in between sleep and the dream? This is what every day we take birth and every day we die. The moment you claim the false as real, how we claim? I have enough wealth and the wealth contains happiness and I have a lot of stress. Look at our chief executive officers of the big companies. Their earning goes to 10, 20 millions a year. They should have been living in more happiness and peace and calm than all of us. Because their mind has created a false that this wealth contains, this wealth, position, and authority contains happiness. And they are working. They have a lot of stress. That is why we talk of corporate stress management. Think. We have to think. It has nothing to do with the dogma, belief, religion, cult, mantra. Forget about all that. That is the beauty of Eastern wisdom. I'll give you a very solid example which has come, prompted my mind. So, understand clearly the Eastern wisdom is an instrument of knowledge. Physics is an instrument of knowledge to build the car. So, by knowledge, I know it is a car. By knowledge of the physics, I know it has four wheels, then only it can drive. Eastern wisdom as an instrument of knowledge. Where it takes me to the real and the absolute truth. It helps me to drop the delusion which causes the suffering. And it helps me to realize what is untruth. Finished. It helps me to separate the false and the untruth from the real. And once I separate this is untruth, it does not exist. We are not worthy of suffering, and fact is this. What did I say? I'm saying we are not worthy of suffering. We suffer because of delusion, ignorance, and the impurity in the mind. Say, for example, you have an acute pain. Just an example, you have acute pain in the body, and the mind recognizes that pain and separates that pain from you. You'll have no suffering at all. Second situation, you have a pain in the body, and the mind says, what happened to me? I have taken care of all this. Let me go to homeopathy and Ayurveda. Oh, this doctor is not good. That doctor is good. You have started suffering. Do you see that? Why it happens? Because I have given a status of that pain as a reality status. Eastern wisdom is an instrument of knowledge which says, do the self inquiry, find out the three categories, find out in which category you want to put the pain. Into the category of the real, oh, then you are going to suffer endlessly. One young guy asked me, I have been with you for almost 3 years and there is no change. I said, become Buddha. So he said to me that, I follow the Buddha, I close my eyes and focus on the breath. And I said, you are right, you focus on the breath. And the next moment you have a thought of pain in the body. So the mind is distracted, you are paying more attention to the body. Next moment, your pet, dear dog, barks and you want to see that why it is barking. Did Buddha was practicing meditation like this? No, I struggle a lot when I wake up in the morning. I said, you are a struggler. Did Buddha ever say that he was a struggler? Then what? I said, his mind was extremely pure. You can make the mind pure inviting the intellect to examine your experiences so that you can learn from your experiences. Then only you can become the Buddha. So he asked me, tell me something more. Pay attention. That is why we pay attention. What happened? Buddha was born. His earlier name was Siddhartha. Astrologer was invited. Normally in Indian families, what happens the moment anyone is born, an astrologer is invited to see the forecast. Astrologer forecasted either he will become a great monk or he will become a great king. So his father was a king and asked the astrologer what to do so that he cannot become a monk and he should become a king. So astrologer said, give him all kinds of pleasure, keep him away from any kind of suffering that the mankind has. So the king, father of Siddhartha, created a Las Vegas and a sin city in his kingdom. Las Vegas, all kinds of pleasure. Sin city means that you are getting all the sensual, physical pleasures. And so King warned the team who was taking care of the Siddhartha since birth that you should not allow, he should not be exposed to any sickness and any idea of the death or any idea of suffering. He should be given all kinds of pleasures. It was forced. What we do, we try to run after the pleasure. That is the difference between the Buddha life and our life. Now see what happened. That is the worth see. So at the age of 16, 17 years, he got married. So he had a kid. He had a son, Rahul, whose name was Rahul. So Buddha had a desire to visit his kingdom. The horse cart was prepared. He sat on the horse cart. The driver started driving the horse to a street. Now that is where the big difference between all of us and the Buddha. He was immersed in all kinds of pleasures, but at the same time, he had a very good vasana, maybe from the previous birth, or he was living in extreme awareness and alertness. He saw an old guy walking. So he asked the driver, who is this guy? I have never seen such a guy before in my life of 17 or 18 years. Driver said, your father warned me not to speak of anything of the old age, but now what should I do? I cannot prevent myself to say something about this old guy. So he said, everyone becomes old. That is why he has an aging process. He is difficult to walk. Buddha realized he saw himself as an old walking with the stick, and he realized that the pleasures from the world is false. Can I realize this? Here and now, from today, you'll have no delusion. Do you see that? That is what I told you, this young guy. Second, he saw a sick man. He asked the driver, why? What happened to this? Why he is coughing? Why he is so much? It seems that he is not in good. Oh, driver said, health and the sickness are dynamic states. As long as the body is, so we have a health in the sickness. You cannot prevent it. You can prevent it, but still it comes. No one can claim that he is healthy since birth and he dies in health. The very death is also a sickness. Buddha instantly reflected on this. He said, all pleasures are a waste. I'm not going after any pleasure from today. I told this young guy, can you do this from today? Your struggle is gone. Your anxiety is gone because you are not seeking the pleasure. Third event, he saw a dead man. So in India, you have not seen when the person dies, you create a bamboo bed and you put the dead body, and the four people carry the dead body to a cremation ground. So he said, why he's lying down and why the four people are taking care of him. Driver said he is a dead. What do you mean by dead? No more body. No more body. It will happen to me. Yes, it will happen to everyone. Nor your father, neither your father nor you are spared, nor me. And he went into the contemplation and reflection. If, pay attention, if I'm getting all kinds of pleasures, and when I am dead, the same sense organs in the mind and the body cannot receive any pleasure. What is the fun of seeking the pleasure from the world? I told this young guy, his mind was totally calm. What happens when we see someone sick? I should not have it. I have a tremendous fear about it. When someone dies, I have a fear of the death, which results into anxiety. And that is falsely we are trying to maintain and label that I'm still a young guy. My sense organs have already told me now enough is enough. That is the difference between you and the Buddha. I was answering him a question that I have been doing it for 3 years, why I'm not changing. So I said, wait. So he saw the fourth, and the horse cart was moving in the street, and he saw a man sitting at the corner of the street in meditation, wearing the orange robes. Buddha said, stop this. What this guy is doing? Why he looks distinct from the others? Driver was intelligent and wise. He said he is searching the answers of the first three questions that you asked me. And he is absorbed into meditation. He is looking for removing the delusion and the false. Oh, so there is a way? Yes, there is a way. Buddha said, return the car to the kingdom. For a few months, he contemplated and reflected. He realized that his dad is not going to push him, will not leave him to find the truth. So in the midnight, he saw his wife and the son, and he left in search of the truth. Just the entire event, four incidents, four things he saw, it happened in 10 minutes and he realized it. What happened to you? Why you didn't realize for the last 3 years? Who is to blame? Who is to blame? You did not think. You're living an unexamined life. I'm asking you to do the practice in the morning, and you say I always struggle in the morning. I say, should I go to morning walk? Should I go to the gym, or should I do the practice? And then I land up doing nothing. That is what you told me. So the journey of the Buddha was very clear and straight. What about you? Why you struggle? Don't you know that by doing the practice, you move into the state of calmness and relaxation? Yes. Why your intellect does not think that why I'm struggling? Let me do the practice, relax and calm, and then I will see what else I should do. Why, but why it is happening? He asked me, because of your delusion, because of the impurity of the mind. So I still have the impurity. I'm not a seeker. I said, judge yourself. Tell me. So in these 3 years, I did not become a seeker. Answer is yes. What it takes you to resolve from today. It hardly takes a second to resolve, to have a determination. Doesn't take? Say to yourself that I resolve from today and then apply that in your life. You will change. So he kept quiet, and I told you that he built houses that cost minimum $10 million. In fact,
Boy, it's a lot.
minimum $10 million, 15, $20 million. I said, continue doing this. I have no issue, but change your perception. You have to examine, are you running after the false? Buddha stopped running after the false. The moment you stop running after the false, delusion is gone. How long it takes you to remove that delusion? Just in a few seconds. That is what this master, which we are going to study, the 31 verses only. And it says, this is what you have been doing. Can you drop it? He is very straight and straightforward. Look at it. The third delusion and its impact. The mind may claim the false premises as real because of the delusion, because of the ignorance, because of the impurity. So the cause is impurity, ignorance, and the delusion. And effect is, I have anxiety, I have a lot of stress, I divorced my honey, and now I'm looking for someone. I don't examine whether the problem is with me or the honey. I'm still searching for happiness in a honey. Not possible. Did I not tell you this story that one American, I read it when I was in India, he married 10 times, and after marrying 10 times, he divorced and he went to a psychiatrist. I want to know whether there is problem with all the girls or the problem with me. Psychiatrist says problem is with you. Problem is not with any of these girls because you are seeking pleasure and happiness from them. And they do not have a property of happiness. That is the big delusion. Think. So our master says, you think and you will see that you free your mind from all the delusion. So I told this young guy, the Buddha eliminated through his resolve. He saw the old man and he dreamed that as if he is old, walking with the stick, his sense organs have lost its natural capacity and they are not able to get the pleasure which he was getting in the young age. He realized, my goodness, this pleasure is false, and seeking pleasure from the sense organ is false. So should I not eat what I like? Yes, you eat what you like. It is very important, but don't have an attachment. That is why people do not understand. They mistake it. Oh, the clothes that I wear, what I like, I should not. No, you should. But that liking should not become the binding desire. Binding desire is a projected happiness and the peace and the pleasure and the love from the world outside. Whatever we see in the world outside is a false, it will put you into the trap. So it is a journey of the self inquiry. We listen and learn, we apply these principles, we contemplate and reflect. We contemplate and reflect to that level where the mind with the impurity weakens. They lose their capacity to force you. That is what happened to the Buddha. And that is why the Buddha left the kingdom. We run after the pleasure even now. And Buddha was living in a sin city, Las Vegas. He got married. He has a beautiful wife and a son and a kingdom, all the resources. That is only the second step. We'll talk about all the 10 steps the Buddha took later. And the pathway is the purity of the mind, getting rid of the delusion, where we have to hammer the delusion by the knowledge, by thinking. I have to move from a non thinking about our delusion, non thinking about our anxiety, non thinking about our stress, non thinking about our suffering, to a thinking mode. Intellect thinks. And the moment you engage your intellect into the introspection and thinking, the delusion finds no place to hide in you. And that results into clarity of the intellect. And once we have a clarity of now delusion is no more, mind seems to be empty. I have recognized it. That mind is redirected inside to find the unconditional love. And then what happens? This knowledge and the unconditional love merge together. When they merge together, what is that state? That state is known as awakening. That state is known as realization. So, in that state, do I not live with the body? Yes, you continue to live with the same body. Otherwise, how do you know that you have realized yourself? Can you have a state of realization in the sleep? No. Normally, people say awakening takes place, then you have to leave the body. Crazy stuff. Then who is going to experience that I'm in the state of realization? So now you know this body and the mind continues its way. I have purified the mind, and in the state of realization, the mind is looking at something and it creates a craving, and the state of realization says, it smiles, no more craving, my dear mind, you will create suffering. Oh, I have a pain in the body. So, okay, let me have a pain in the leg. Let me take care of it. But mind does not create any suffering. So, because of the presence of the body and the mind, now you know you are living into that state of realization. From the next week, we will take up this text. Is so beautiful.